Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Jared here, and welcome to the second video on AirAccess18. In this video, I am going over how to use the gate compression and EQs, as well as saving and loading scenes. If you need to know how to install or would like a general layout of the AirAccess18 infrastructure, please see the first video in the description below. Also, if you would like to download and use this software for yourself, please see the links for that in the description below as well. If you have any further questions, comments, or concerns, I'll be more than happy to answer them in the comments section. Anyways, so let's get started. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the master compressor first. And I will tell you this, that when you look at one compression page layout for the channels and the buses, you've pretty much seen them all. They are no different in any way. So let's check it out real quick.
Navigator tree view. Main output expanded 1 of 8 level 0.
So we're going to go to the main output.
Level 1 master mix 1 of 3.
And we've already talked about the master mix in the last video.
Master compressor 2 of 3 level 1.
Here's a master compressor. And now the functions in the compressor I don't fully understand, but I will try to give as best of an explanation as possible. So let's check it out.
Master compressor grouping. Enable compressor checkbox not checked.
Okay, here is the enabling compressor checkbox. If this box is checked, of course, that means the compressor has been turned on. It is mirrored just like it is on the main output's main page. And so if you turn it on there, it'll be on here. And if you turn it off here, it'll be off there.
Mode combo box compressor collapsed.
And here is your compression mode. And this is basically how this thing will behave. And you can choose between compressor or expander.
Compressor, expander, compressor, compression type combo box peak collapsed.
And here is your compression type. You can choose between peak and RMS. Now, commonly peak is used, but I actually do use RMS. For kick drums.
Peak. Envelope combo box logarithmic collapsed.
Here is your envelope, so your compression can be done in a linear compression format or logarithmic.
Logarithmic. Threshold slider 0 dB.
And here's your threshold. Your threshold comes in handy whenever you're trying to top off the amount of compression. Of course, the highest value is 0.
Minus 60 dB.
And you can compress down to negative 60 dB.
0 dB.
And of course, the lower the number, the more compression you're adding.
Ratio combo box 3.0 collapsed.
Your ratio choices you have here
100
are
1.1,
1.1,
1.3,
1.3,
1.5,
1.5,
2.0,
2.0,
2.5,
2.5,
3.0,
3.0,
4.0,
4.0,
5.0,
5,
7.0,
7, 10,
20,
20,
100,
and 100.
1.5, 2.0, 2.5, 3.0. Knee slider 1.
Your knee, I don't know how to explain it. So for any further questions on that, you can just look it up. I honestly have no idea where to start with that.
Gain slider 0 dB.
Your gain is your compensation gain. Therefore, if you have too much compression and you're losing decibels because of it, you can use this gain to adjust accordingly. So that way you can add as much gain additionally as you need, up to
24 dB.
24 decibels, which is quite a bit.
0 dB. Reduction meter edit read only selected 0 dB.
Now, if you need to know how much gain you are losing, I have a reduction meter incorporated here, so that way you can look at this and you can cue it just the same as you could any other meter.
0 dB selected.
And it will tell you how much gain you are losing, so you can adjust the gain accordingly.
Attack slider 10 milliseconds.
Your attack is how abrupt the compression kicks in.
Hold slider 10 milliseconds.
Your hold is basically how long the compression stays active.
Release slider 151
And your
milliseconds.
release is how long the compression starts to reset itself after it has reached its initial hold point, therefore allowing it to go back to a non-compressed state.
Source combo box off collapsed.
Now, source, I'm not even going to try to explain it, but you can basically choose between your off position,
0 1.
your inputs,
Bus 6.
all the way up to bus 6.
Off.
And I have no idea what that even does because I haven't messed with it much.
Mix level slider 100%.
Your mix level is basically your wet to dry compression. Of course, 100% being fully wet, which means you'll have no parallel compression being done. And it's just a solidly compressed signal that's coming through.
Auto level combo box off collapsed.
Now, your auto level, it essentially will try to automatically apply compression as it sees fit.
Enable filter checkbox not checked.
Now, you can turn on and off the compression filter here.
Filter type combo box 3.0 collapsed.
And here's where you will choose your filter type.
LC6.
And you have
10.0.
all the way up from
LC6,
LC6, which I guess means
LC12,
low cut 6, low cut 12,
HC6,
high cut 6,
HC12,
high cut 12,
1.0,
1,
2.0,
2,
3.0,
3,
5.0,
4, 5, excuse me,
10.0,
10, and that's it.
3, 2, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Filter frequency slider 991 Hz.
And here's where you can change your filter frequency. And I'm assuming this whole filter thing basically depends on how you set your filter frequency is what it's going to start looking for in the compression, possibly even compressing that specific filter, which is very nice to know if that is the case. But that is pretty much the compressor.
Active, 1 peers. Navigator tree view, master compressor 2 of 3 level 1.
Now, all the compressors that you will have come across in the channel strips and the bus in their subpages are all lined up the exact same. So all these parameters will apply to all the compressors.
Master EQ 3 of 3 level 1.
Now let's check out the EQs. Now the EQs, as I have mentioned in the previous video, there are 3 types for the main output and the bus. You have your 6-band parametric, your 31-band graphic, and your 31-band true EQs.
Master EQ grouping, EQ mode combo box parametric collapsed.
So here you can choose between parametric,
EQ mode combo box graphic collapsed.
graphic,
True.
and true. Now when you choose your different mode here, your parameter screen will change.
Graphic, EQ mode combo box parametric collapsed.
So let's take a look at the parametric EQ first. Now there are 6 total bands in the parametric EQ, as I've mentioned.
Enable EQ checkbox check.
And now here's where you have the ability to check and uncheck this box to turn on and off the EQ respectively. And it is mirrored just like it is on the main strip's main page.
Band 1 type combo box low shelf collapsed.
Now you have your type, which means you can choose between
Low cut,
low cut,
low shelf,
low shelf,
PEQ,
PEQ,
BEQ,
BEQ,
high shelf,
high shelf,
high cut.
and high cut.
Band 1 frequency slider 79.6 Hz.
So here's where you can choose your frequency. Now
20 Hz,
you can go as low as 20 hertz
20k Hz,
and as high as 20,000 hertz.
20 Hz, 79.6 Hz.
And when you change it, the change is not linear, so you may need to keep that in mind.
82.4 Hz, 85.3, 88.3, 91.94, 98 Hz, 101 Hz, 105 Hz.
You can also manually enter a frequency and it'll get you close to it.
Selection removed.
1300 hertz.
Band 1 frequency slider 1.31k Hz.
Yep.
Band 1 gain slider 0
Your
dB.
gain is how much of that frequency you're removing or increasing.
Minus 15 dB.
Up to minus 15 decibels.
15 dB.
Up to 15 decibels.
9, 3 dB. 2, 1, 0.75 dB.
And these go in increments of 1/4 decibel.
0.5, 0.25, 0 dB.
So you can go from 0.
0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1 dB. 0 dB. Band 1 Q slider 1.96.
The Q is basically kind of like the range from that frequency. But if I recall correctly, the Q essentially expands as the numbers increase.
10. 0.3.
You can go from 0.3
10.
to 10.
10.
And the lower is actually 10. The higher number
0.3.
is 0.3.
0.315. 0.629. 2.64. 2.51. 2.1. 2.1.96. Band 2 type combo box.
And the same can be applied to all 6 of the bands of the parametric EQ. So you'll see the band 2 type.
Band 2 frequency slider 100. Band 2 gain slider 0 dB. Band 2 Q slider 1.96. Band 3 type combo box B. Band 3 frequency slider 400. Band 3 gain slider 0 dB. Band 3 Q slider 1.96. Band 4 type combo box BEQ. Band 4 frequency slider 1.98 kHz. Band 4 gain slider 0 dB. Band 4 Q slider 1.9. Band 5 type combo box BEQ. Band 5 frequency slider 5.0. Band 5 gain slider 0 dB. Band 5 Q slider 1.96. Band 6 type combo box high shelf collapsed. Band 6 frequency slider 10 kHz. Band 6 gain slider 0 dB. Band 6 Q slider 1.96. Active, 1 peers. Navigator tree view.
Okay, since we're talking about the parametric EQ, let's go to one of the channels real quick where you have a 4-band parametric, just so I could show you the layout. Even though it's very much similar, I just want to be able to show it to you guys anyways.
Level 0 main output expanded 1 of 8. Master EQ, level 0 channel expand, level 2, gate 2 of 5 level 2, compressor 3 of 5, EQ 4 of 5 level 2. EQ grouping, enable EQ checkbox check.
Now, just like on the channel's main page, you will have the checkbox for the EQ, so you can turn it on and off, and it is mirrored just like it is on the channel strip's main page for each of the individual channels or returns.
Band 1 type combo box BEQ collapsed.
And you have your type,
Band 1 frequency slider 125
frequency,
Hz. Band 1 gain slider 0
gain,
dB. Band 1 Q slider
and
1.96.
Q, just like you do in the 6-band parametric.
Band 2 type combo box. Band 2 frequency. Band 2 gain slider. Band 2 Q slider 1. Band 3 type combo. Band 3 frequency slide. Band 3 gain slider 0. Band 3 Q slider 1.9. Band 4 type combo box. Band 4 frequencies. Band 4 gain slider 0. Band 4 Q slider 1. Active. 1 peers.
And that's it for all the channel strip EQs. And the gains on this on the page for the EQs is mirrored by the gains on the channel's main page. So if you make any adjustments on the gains on the channel's main page, they will be replicated here.
Navigator tree view. EQ 405 level 2. Level 0 main output expand. Level 1 master compressor 2 of master EQ 3 of 3 level 1 master EQ grouping.
So let's check out the 31-band graphic EQ.
EQ mode combo box graphic collapsed.
Now you will have 31 faders, each of them adjusting a specific frequency that is identified.
Enable EQ checkbox checked.
Of course, you'll have your checkbox just like you do with the parametric EQ, and the same checkbox turns on any of the EQs chosen in this particular situation. So if you have a parametric EQ and you turn it on and you switch to graphic EQ, the EQ will still remain on. So you don't have to turn it on and off individually. And if you choose this EQ type, only this EQ type will be effective. So if you make any adjustments to the parametric EQ and switch over to the graphic EQ, the parametric EQ will be disabled and it'll just be using the graphic EQ. And again, this is only for the main output and bus sends. So let's check it out.
20 slider 0 dB.
You got your 20 hertz,
25 slider 0 dB.
25 hertz,
31.5 slider 0 dB.
31.5 hertz,
40 slider 0 dB.
40 hertz,
50 slider 0 dB.
50 hertz,
63 slider 0 dB.
63 hertz,
80 slider 0 dB.
80 hertz,
100 slider 0 dB.
100 hertz,
125 slider 0 dB.
125 hertz,
160 slider 0 dB.
160 hertz,
200 slider 0 dB.
200,
250 slider 0 dB.
250,
315 slider 0 dB.
300,
400 slider 0 dB.
400,
500 slider 0 dB.
500,
630 slider 0 dB.
630,
800 slider 0 dB.
800,
1K slider 0 dB.
your 1 kilohertz,
1.25K slider 0 dB.
1.25 kilohertz,
1.6K slider 0 dB.
1.6K,
2K slider 0 dB.
2 kilohertz,
2.5K slider 0 dB.
2.5K,
3.15K slider 0 dB.
3.15 kilohertz,
4K slider 0 dB.
4K,
5K slider 0 dB.
5K,
6.3K slider 0 dB.
6.3K,
8K slider 0 dB.
8,000,
10K slider 0 dB.
10,000,
12.5K slider 0 dB.
12,500,
16K slider 0 dB.
16 kilohertz,
20K slider 0 dB.
20 kilohertz,
Active. 1 peers.
and I can promise you that frequency probably hurts. Anyway, so that's the 31 bands for the graphic and true EQ.
Navigator tree
Now,
view.
any changes you make in the graphic EQ, if you switch to true EQ, those changes will remain.
Master
So
EQ
I'll show you an example.
Enable
of what I'm
EQ
talking
checkbox
about.
checked. 20 slider 0 dB.
So let's turn up to 20 decibels to
Minus 6 dB. 6 dB.
6 decibels
25 slider 0 dB.
and say,
6 dB. 5 dB. 31.5. 6 dB. 4.5 dB.
okay, so the first three have changed from 4 to 5 and 6 decibels respectively.
Enable EQ checkbox checked. EQ
Now,
mode combo box graphic collapsed. True.
if I go to true EQ,
Enable EQ checkbox checked. 20 slider 6 dB.
the frequencies of the gains for the frequencies have not changed.
25 slider 5 dB. 31.5 slider 4.5 dB. 40 slider 0 dB.
Cool deal. And that pretty much covers the parametric and graphic EQ for the main outputs and the bus sends.
Navigator tree view. Master EQ 3 of 3 level 1.
Okay, so let's check out the channel gates.
Level 0 channel strips expanded 2 of 8. Level 1 channel 1 expanded 1 of 17. Level 2 input 1 of 5. Gate 2 of 5 level 2.
So here we have the channel gate. So we will go into the page here.
Gate grouping. Enable gate checkbox not checked.
Now your gate being enabled or disabled depends on this checkbox. If it's checked, it's on. If it's not checked, it's turned off. And this is mirrored on the channel's main page as well.
Mode combo box gate collapsed.
And now you have your gate mode, which you have 5 modes to choose from.
Duck.
Excuse me.
EXP2.
You got EXP2,
EXP3.
3,
EXP4.
4, gate,
Duck.
and duck. Quack, quack.
Gate.
Okay, that was cheesy, I know. Anyways,
Threshold slider minus 80 dB.
now your threshold is your cutoff for your gates, basically. So the lower, the more stuff allowed through, but the higher up the threshold number, the less stuff is allowed through past that certain threshold. And you can go up, obviously, as high as 0
dB. Minus 80 dB.
So if you have, say,
Minus 48 dB. Minus 32 dB.
if you have a negative 32 decibels, anything below that negative 32 decibel threshold will not come through.
Reduction meter edit read only
If
selected
you need
0
to know
dB.
how much you are needing to cut off, then here's your reduction meter to let you know that. I put that right here next to the threshold, so that way it's that easy to work with.
Range slider 60 dB.
I have not tried to mess with this yet, so just don't start me to line. I've never really messed with it.
Attack slider 1 millisecond.
Your attack is how abruptly the gate opens. So a slower attack would mean the gate opens slower, and a no lower attack would mean the gate opens slower, and a higher attack would mean the gate is quicker.
0 milliseconds.
So the 0 milliseconds attack means there is almost no resistance.
120 milliseconds.
And 120 milliseconds means that's how long it'll be before the gate is fully opened after it has been cut off.
0 milliseconds. 1 millisecond. Hold slider 502 milliseconds.
Your hold is for how long the gate has remained open. And of course, the lower the number, the quicker the time it's being held open. But the lower, the higher the number, the longer it's being held open.
0.02 milliseconds.
0.02 milliseconds.
2s.
To 2 seconds.
200 milliseconds. 200, 200, 200, 300, 502 milliseconds. Release slider 983 milliseconds.
Your release is how long it takes for the gate to close. So therefore, once you pass your hold point, it'll start closing, and that's what your release is how abruptly or how long it takes for the gate to close.
5 milliseconds.
You got a 5 millisecond close
4s.
to a 4 second close off.
1.05s. 4s. 5 millisecond. 5.35. 5.6. 6.26.6 milliseconds. 101 milliseconds. Source combo box off collapsed.
And your source is pretty much the same as it is in the compressor, but I have not been able to figure that out.
Enable filter checkbox not checked.
In filter, I have no idea how it actually works. I've never tried using it, but the same filters apply as it does for the compression.
Filter type combo box 3.0
You got your
collapsed.
filter type
Filter frequency slider
and your filter
991 Hz.
frequency.
Active 1 peers.
And that covers the gates for the channel strips.
Navigator tree view. Gate 2 of 5 level 2.
There is one feature that I haven't gone over yet, and that is the scene uploading and downloading. And you can upload and save scenes using the XAir18 naturally, and this has been implemented into AOSC actually. So what you're going to want to do is you'll go into the top menu and you'll find a command just called X.
File submenu alt, do submenu alt plus X submenu alt plus X.
And when you get to X, you'll have 2 options.
Upload scene.
Upload
Control plus
scene,
Shift plus UU.
and you can use Control Shift U
Save scene as. Control plus Shift plus SS.
or Control Shift S to save the scenes. So now that you know these
X submenu alt
shortcuts,
plus X.
let's try them out real quick. So we're going to upload a scene.
Upload scene from dialog file name. File name. Combo box collapsed. Edit alt plus N blank. Scene test.scn.
We're going to do the scene test here that I have made a while back.
Scene transfer progress dialog. AOSC. Navigator tree view. Gate 2 of 5 level 2.
And now you will know whenever I navigate that there is a lot of changes made. So let's check it out.
Input 1 of 5 level 2. Level 1 kick expanded 1 of 17. Collapsed. Level 0 channel strips expanded 2 of 8.
So the channel strips have been labeled now.
Level 1 kick collapsed 1. Snare collapsed 2 of 7. Overhead hats collapsed 3. Overhead ride collapsed. Tom 1 collapsed 5. Tom 2 collapsed 6 of. Tom 3 collapsed 7. Tom / auxiliary drum. Bass collapsed 9 of 17 level 1. Guitar collapsed 10 of 17 level. Sampler L collapsed 11 of 7. Sampler R collapsed 12 of 17 level 1.
And this basically is a general layout of one of my band's performances from previous works. So that's pretty much what I loaded up here. And it's a test file, so I can totally modify this file and not ruin anything that my band has done. And so let me give you some examples of making some modifications, saving, and recalling this scene.
Sampler L collapsed. Tom / auxiliary drum collapsed 8
I'm
of
going to
17
change
level
this
1.
Tom auxiliary drum, the name of it.
Tom / auxiliary. Script name edit selected. Tom / auxiliary drum.
So let's give it a different name. Let's give it side snare.
Side snare selected.
Now,
Navigator tree view. Side snare collapsed 8 of 17 level 1.
you'll notice that now it says side snare, where it used to say Tom auxiliary drum, and that applies everywhere.
Level 0 channel strips expanded 2. Channel snare slider minus overhead hat. Overhead right. Tom 1, Tom 2, Tom 3 side snare slider minus 7 point. Navigator. Level 0 main output expand.
Let's
Level
check
1
out-
master compressor 2 of 3 level 1. Master mix 1 of 3. Master mix group main output meter edit read only selected. Kick slider minus 0.01. Snare slider minus 7. Overhead hat slider in. Overhead ride slider in. Tom 1 slider minus. Tom 2 slider minus. Tom 3 slider minus 7. Side snare slider minus 7 point.
So anywhere channel 8 was, it now says side snare in any mixes, including the monitor
Navigator
mixes
tree
as
view.
well.
Level collapsed. Channel strips. Level 1 kick collapsed 1 of. Snare collapsed. FX returns collapsed 3 of 8. Bus ends collapsed 4. Expand. Level day. Bus 3 collapsed 3 of 6 level 1. Expanded. 4 I. Level 2 bus 3 mix collapsed 1. Bus 3 mix grouping. Bus 3 fader slider infinity. Auxiliary send 3 output meter edit read only selected infinity. Kick slider plus 0 D. Snare slider in. Overhead hat overhead ride Tom 1 slider. Tom 2 side snare slider infinity.
Cool deal. Okay.
Navigator tree view. Bus 3 mix level date. Chris monitor collapsed 1 of 6 level 0. FX returns channel strips collapsed 2 of 8 level 0. Expanded level. Tom 2 collapsed 6. Tom side snare collapsed 8 of 17 level 1.
Okay, and let's take a look at some of the other things that I want to change just out of randomness.
Bass collapsed 9 of 17. Guitar collapsed 10 of 17 level 1.
Let's change guitar to electric guitar.
Guitar grouping. Strip color combo box. Strip name edit selected guitar. Acoustic selected. Acoustic on checkbox not checked.
You're going to want to turn the mute group on. That'll turn on all these channels.
Navigator tree view. Acoustic collapse 10 of bass. Tom 3, Tom 2, Tom 1, level 0 main output collapse. Main output, main output, master pan sliders. Mute group 1 checkbox checked. Not checked.
I unmuted the group, and now
Navigator tree view.
all
Main
the
output
channel
collapse 1 of 8
strips that are
level 0.
assigned to that mute group have now been turned on.
Channel strips expanded 2 of 8 level 0. Level 1. Snare collapse 2 of 7. Snare. Strip name edit selected snare. Snare on checkbox checked. Tom 2 collapse. Tom 3 side snare. Bass collapse. Acoustic collapse. Acoustic grouping. Strip name edit select. Acoustic on checkbox checked.
See, it was not checked earlier because I turned on the mute group. Okay, cool. So now that I've made these changes, let's save this scene so that way we can recall it for future reference.
Save current scene as dialog. File name.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it
blank.
as test scene test 2.
Scene transfer AOSC. Acoustic grouping.
And now, whenever I go to upload any of the two scenes, I just made two separate scenes for two separate shows just by making a few changes.
Upload scene from dialog file name. Scene test2.scn. Scene test.scn. Scene transfer progress dialog. AOSC. Guitar grouping. Guitar on checkbox not checked.
See, now it goes back to the original settings.
Strip name edits guitar. Strip navigator tree view. Guitar collapse. Bass collapse not. Tom / auxiliary drum collapse 8 of 17 level 1.
Or
upload scene from dialog. Scene test2.sc. Scene transfer progress dialog. AOSC. Navigator tree view. Side snare collapsed 8 of 17 level 1.
And the scenes that I just created by the one that I just saved.
Bass collapse 9. Acoustic collapse 10 of. Sampler L collapsed 11 of 17 level 1.
And that is it. That is how you use the scene uploading and saving configuration. And this concludes this video on AirAccess18. If you have any further questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. I look forward to chatting with you. And if you would like to inform me on anything that I might have missed, I would be more than happy to cover it for you. Additionally, I would also like to do this project with an X32 and get my hands on one of those consoles so I can code one of these to make them accessible as well. So if you have any leads on how I can get my hands on an X32 at a fairly decent price, or if anybody is willing to donate one for the cause, I would be more than happy to work with it. So thank you guys again for watching. My name is Jared, and I will see y'all in the next video.